In the 1960s, Japan was quietly crafting cars that flew under the radar but packed a punch. No flashy designs, no attention-grabbing features, just raw, stealthy performance. These are the 12 unknown Japanese sleeper cars of the 1960s. Let's dive in. Number 12. Subaru 360 Young SS, 1969. We drop straight into something much smaller, but just as surprising. The Subaru 360 Young SS may look like a toy compared to the larger sedans of its time, but this little key car had a lot more under the hood than you'd expect. Released in 1969, the Young SS was Subaru's attempt to inject a bit more performance into their popular 360 lineup. While the standard 360 was a humble city runabout, the Young SS was aimed at younger drivers looking for a little extra thrill without stepping out of the K-Class. What made it special was its upgraded two-stroke, twin-cylinder engine, now producing 36 horsepower, tiny by today's standards, but this lightweight car weighed just over 1,000 pounds. That gave it a power-to-weight ratio that translated into surprising acceleration, with a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of about 16 seconds. It also featured a sportier gear ratio and a higher compression engine, allowing it to rev quickly and push the limits of what was expected from such a small vehicle. Torque came in at 28 pound-feet, which combined with the low weight gave it impressive agility on tight urban streets. But there were trade-offs. While the Young SS was fun and nimble in the city, it wasn't ideal for longer drives. High speeds made the cabin feel like a buzzing tin can, and its tiny size left little room for safety. Nonetheless, enthusiasts still admired its spirited performance and its ability to break out of the K-car mold. And just wait until you see what's next. Our next sleeper hides even more performance under a plainer exterior. Number 11. Toyota Coronet RT55, 1967-68. After the charm of the Subaru 360 Young SS, we move into more familiar territory, but don't be fooled by the everyday looks of the Toyota Coronet RT55. On the surface, it appeared to be a sensible family car, practical, sturdy, and reliable. But beneath its modest appearance, the RT55 quietly carried Toyota's ambition to build something more than just a commuter vehicle. Introduced in the late 60s, this generation of the Coronet was part of Toyota's global push, designed to be as comfortable on Japanese streets as it was on American highways. What set the RT55 apart was its lightweight body paired with a lively 1.9-liter inline-4 engine, known as the 1900. This engine churned out around 90 horsepower and 100 pound-feet of torque, making it feel surprisingly sprightly considering the car's 2,000-pound weight. It could go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in roughly 13 seconds, which was quick for its class. The RT55 was responsive and eager, offering an enjoyable driving experience, especially compared to its more staid rivals. Durability and ease of maintenance made it a favorite among those who wanted reliable motoring with a dash of fun on the open road. Of course, the RT55 wasn't perfect. Handling was decent but not sharp, and the ride quality on rough surfaces could have been better. Its boxy design gave little away about its performance credentials. But that's exactly what makes the RT55 such a sleeper. It never sought attention, yet delivered much more than anyone expected. And just when you think we've covered the understated classics, the next entry takes quiet performance to a whole new level. Number 10. Isuzu Bellet 1600 GT 1964. Coming from the understated strength of the Coronet RT55, we move to something a bit more spirited, yet still flying well under most people's radar. The Isuzu Bellet 1600 GT. Launched in 1964, the Bellet GT quietly holds the distinction of being Japan's very first car to wear the GT badge. Despite this, it never quite made waves beyond a circle of enthusiasts. Most people passed it by, assuming it was just another compact sedan. Little did they know Isuzu had packed a surprising punch under its unassuming design. At the heart of the Bellet 1600 GT was a 1.6-liter inline-4 engine, producing around 90 horsepower and 95 pound-feet of torque. This was paired with a lightweight body, giving it a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of around 12 seconds. Impressive for a car of its size and era. The car's rear-wheel drive layout, combined with its responsive handling, made it an engaging drive, offering an agility that few expected from its modest appearance. It was light on its feet, able to dart through corners with a playful energy that stood out in its class. Of course, it wasn't without its flaws. The build quality didn't quite match up to rivals like Toyota or Nissan, and finding replacement parts outside Japan could be a challenge. Still, for those in the know, the Bellet 1600 GT remains a hidden gem. It leaves you wondering, How many other Japanese brands quietly built drivers' cars without anyone noticing? And with that, our next sleeper takes subtlety to a whole new level, blending everyday looks with unexpected firepower. Number 9. Daihatsu Compagno Berlina, 1963. Following the Bellet 1600 GT, we step into even more obscure territory with the Daihatsu Compagno Berlina. Daihatsu might not be the first name that comes to mind when thinking of hidden performance, but that's exactly what makes this car so interesting. Launched in 1963, the Compagno Berlina was Daihatsu's bold attempt to break into the passenger car market. Fun fact, it was actually the first Japanese car to be officially sold in the UK. On the surface, though, it looked like little more than a friendly, no-nonsense city car. Under the hood, the Berlina packed a 1.0-liter inline-4 engine, producing around 55 horsepower and 58 pound-feet of torque. While not exactly a powerhouse, it was surprisingly lively, especially considering the car's modest weight of just 1,500 pounds. Its 0 to 60 miles per hour time of approximately 15 seconds wasn't groundbreaking, but it had the agility to make urban driving a lot more fun than expected. The Berlina's lightweight build and responsive handling made it a joy to navigate tight city streets and gave it an unexpected level of character for such a small, practical car. Of course, it had its shortcomings. Beyond city speeds, it felt stretched and lacked comfort on rough roads. But despite those limitations, the Berlina proved that Daihatsu could deliver a car with more spirit than most gave it credit for. Stick around, because what's coming next in this list might just surprise you. And if you're enjoying this lineup, hit that subscribe button. We're just warming up, and trust me, you haven't seen the wild side of Japanese engineering yet. Number 8. Prince Skyline S50 1500 Deluxe, 1963. After the Daihatsu Compagno Berlina, we move into something with a bit more presence, but still flying under the radar. The Prince Skyline S51500 Deluxe. Before Nissan made the Skyline famous, it started here, with the humble yet surprisingly capable S50. Prince Motor Company developed this sedan with practicality in mind, but under its reserved styling was the early DNA of a future icon. Launched in 1964, the S50 was powered by a 1.5-liter four-cylinder engine, producing around 70 horsepower and 85 pound-feet of torque. While these numbers weren't exactly earth-shattering, the car's lightweight build and well-tuned suspension made it a surprisingly smooth and responsive drive. With a 0 to 60 mile-per-hour time of approximately 14 seconds, it was no slouch for its time. The real standout, however, was how it quietly laid the foundation for Japan's performance sedans. At a glance, it appeared to be just another commuter car, but those in the know appreciated its balance and poise, especially in corners where it outshone many of its competitors. Of course, it wasn't without its flaws. Push it too hard, and the engine would struggle to keep up, particularly at higher speeds. The interior was functional but basic, and the car's subtle design often left it overlooked in markets filled with flashier options. But even with its limitations, the S50 proved that Prince was onto something big. Stay tuned, because number 5 will take the sleeper concept in a completely unexpected direction. Number 7. Mitsubishi Debonair, 1964. Coming off the subtle charm of the Prince Skyline S50, at first glance feels more executive than sleeper. The Mitsubishi Debonair from 1964. While the name Debonair evokes images of a luxury lounge on wheels, this full-size sedan quietly packed a surprising bit of potential beneath its stately exterior. Mitsubishi originally built the Debonair to woo government officials and business elites, aiming for a car that exuded prestige but remained practical. Early models came equipped with a 2.0-liter KE 64 four-cylinder engine, producing around 105 horsepower and 115 pound-feet of torque. Later iterations saw an upgrade to a 2.6-liter straight-six with around 120 horsepower, improving highway performance and adding extra smoothness to its delivery. With a 0 to 60 mile-per-hour time hovering around 13 to 14 seconds, depending on the engine. It wasn't a rocket, but for a luxury cruiser of its era, it held its own respectably well. What set the Debonair apart was its composure on the road. Despite being tailored for chauffeur duty, it delivered a surprisingly confident and smooth drive, capable of comfortable long-distance cruising, a rare quality in Japan's mid-60s executive segment. The car's suspension soaked up imperfections gracefully, and on open roads it cruised with an ease that rivaled more performance-focused sedans. Of course, agility wasn't its forte. With its heavy body and comfort-oriented setup, the Debonair preferred leisurely corners to tight hairpins. The styling, though handsome, leaned conservative, helping it blend quietly into government convoys and boardrooms. Yet that's what makes it so intriguing, a formal executive saloon with just enough spirit to catch you off guard. Stick around, because what's coming next adds an unexpected dash of spunk to this sleeper series. Number 6. Hino Contessa 1300 Coupe 1964. After the elegant yet understated Mitsubishi Debonair, we move to something with a sportier edge, yet still flying under the radar. The Hino Contessa 1300 Coupe. At first glance, it might look like just another stylish 60s coupe, but Hino had something much more interesting tucked under that compact, attractive exterior. Released in 1964, the Contessa was Hino's ambitious attempt to deliver a performance-focused car in a small package. Under the rear-mounted lid sat a 1.3-liter GR 100 inline-4 engine, producing around 65 to 70 horsepower and roughly 75 pound-feet of torque. With its featherweight construction tipping the scales at just over 850 kilograms, about 1,870 pounds, this power plant translated into lively acceleration for its class, with a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of around 14 to 15 seconds. Modest by today's standards, but in the mid-60s, this made the Contessa surprisingly quick off the line. What truly made the Contessa special was its combination of sleek Italian-influenced styling, courtesy of Michelotti, agile handling, and a sporty driving feel. Thanks to its rear-engine, rear-wheel drive layout, it delivered excellent balance and cornering grip, making it a joy to drive on twisty roads. City driving felt playful and energetic, giving it a unique character in a field crowded with conservative sedans. Of course, there were compromises. Highway speeds revealed its limitations, and the cabin, while charmingly minimal, lacked the plushness of its rivals. Ride quality could be a bit firm, especially over rough surfaces. Still, the Contessa 1300 Coupe remains a brilliant example of hidden performance wrapped in an unassuming package. And what's coming next on our list? Let's just say it's going to take the sleeper concept to a whole new level. Number 5. Mazda Luce 1500 1966. Shifting gears from the Hino Contessa 1300 Coupe, we now arrive at something that presents itself as a bit more refined, yet with a surprising edge. The Mazda Luce 1500. Released in 1966, the Luce was Mazda's answer to the growing demand for a stylish yet practical sedan, one that could still surprise when the need for performance arose. At first glance, the Luce looked like your typical family car. Its sleek, Giugiaro design lines and well-proportioned stance made it easy on the eyes. But under the hood was a 1.5-liter, four-cylinder engine producing about 78 to 80 horsepower and around 85 pound-feet of torque. Thanks to its relatively light curb weight of just over 1,000 kilograms, approximately 2,205 pounds, the Luce could manage a 0 to 60 miles per hour sprint in about 15 to 16 seconds. Respectable for the mid-60s family sedan category. What really made the Luce 1500 stand out was its composure on the road. The well-tuned suspension and precise steering gave it a nimble, confident feel, making urban driving smooth and even a little bit fun. It blended comfort with a subtle hint of sportiness, offering families a car that was both practical and unexpectedly engaging. Of course, it wasn't flawless. The engine, while eager in city environments, began to show its limitations at higher speeds, and wind noise could creep into the cabin on the highway. Inside, the Luce offered good space and decent ergonomics, but it lacked some of the upscale finishes found in rival sedans. Still, the Luce 1500 remains an understated charmer, a family car with just enough spirit to keep keen drivers smiling. And up next, things are about to get even more interesting as we reach the number 1 car on the list. Stay tuned. Number 4. Nissan Cedric 130 1965-69. After the smooth Mazda Luce 1500, we now turn our attention to a car that offered a little more muscle and a whole lot of charisma. The Nissan Cedric 130. Produced from 1965 to 69, the Cedric 130 wasn't just another family sedan. It was Nissan's answer to the growing demand for something stylish yet capable. Under the hood, the Cedric 130 came with multiple engine options, but the most popular was the 1.6-liter G-Series inline-4, producing around 88 horsepower and about 94 pound-feet of torque. Some higher trims even featured a 2.0-liter inline-6, bumping output to roughly 105 horsepower. In terms of performance, the Cedric could manage a 0 to 60 mile-per-hour sprint in around 15 to 16 seconds. Not groundbreaking, but respectable for its class and era. What made the Cedric shine was its balance. The suspension was well-tuned for comfort, soaking up bumps while maintaining stability, and the rear-wheel drive layout added to its confident road manners. The cabin, though simple, was spacious and well-built, giving occupants a sense of understated luxury that elevated everyday driving. However, the Cedric wasn't without its shortcomings. While it offered decent power, it didn't deliver sharp acceleration, and at higher speeds, the engine could feel a bit strained. Plus, its conservative styling made it easy to overlook compared to flashier contemporaries. Still, the Cedric 130 remains a brilliant example of a sleeper classic, blending subtle sophistication with just enough performance to surprise. Stick around, because the next car is going to turn things up a notch. Drop a comment with your favorite decade so far. Let's settle this. And if you're enjoying the ride, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. The biggest surprises are still ahead, and you won't want to miss them. Number 3. Toyota Crown 8, 1964. Following the understated Nissan Cedric 130, we come to a car that elevated the idea of subtle performance even further. The Toyota Crown 8 from 1964. This was Toyota's first full-size luxury sedan, aimed squarely at executives who craved refinement without the ostentation of typical sports sedans. Beneath its dignified exterior, the Crown 8 packed a 2.6-liter V8 engine, yes, a V8, producing around 115 to 120 horsepower and approximately 155 pound-feet of torque. For its era, this was no small feat, especially in a car designed more for boardrooms than racetracks. It could manage a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of about 14 seconds, giving it smooth yet respectable acceleration. The Crown 8 delivered a composed and confident driving experience with its rear-wheel drive layout and well-cushioned suspension, ensuring a serene ride over both city streets and highways. Inside, the Crown 8 didn't disappoint. Luxurious seating, wood trim accents, and a surprisingly spacious cabin gave it an upscale ambiance that rivaled European sedans of the time. However, its design remained understated, tasteful but not aggressive, which meant many overlooked its capable powertrain. That said, it wasn't perfect. The weight of the car dulled outright performance, and while the V8 provided decent power, it didn't deliver the sharp, thrilling acceleration of sportier contemporaries. Still, the Toyota Crown 8 quietly carved its legacy as an early Japanese luxury performance sleeper. And if you think this is intriguing, wait until you see what's the #1 sleeper on the list. It's a real game changer. Number 2. Mazda Familia Rotary Coupe, 1968. As we leave behind the understated luxury of the Toyota Crown 8, we move to a car that, on the surface, might seem more conventional, but packs a serious punch in a very unique way. The Mazda Familia Rotary Coupe. Launched in 1968, this was Mazda's bold debut of the revolutionary Wankel rotary engine in a mainstream compact car, and it certainly turned heads. The Familia Rotary Coupe housed a 982 cubic centimeter twin-rotor Wankel engine, producing an impressive 100 horsepower and around 96 pound-feet of torque. Thanks to its lightweight construction, tipping the scales at just about 900 kilograms, around 1,984 pounds, the car could sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in approximately 11 seconds, which was genuinely quick for a compact coupe of its time. The smooth, high-revving nature of the rotary engine delivered power in an exciting and almost turbine-like manner, making everyday drives feel sporty and spirited. Visually, however, the Familia Rotary Coupe played it safe. Its compact, almost understated design didn't scream performance, which only added to its sleeper appeal. Yet behind the modest exterior was a responsive chassis and agile handling that rewarded enthusiastic drivers. Of course, the pioneering rotary engine wasn't without its downsides. Fuel consumption was notably high, and early reliability concerns made ownership a bit of an adventure. Still, for those in the know, the Familia Rotary Coupe represented cutting-edge engineering wrapped in an unsuspecting package. But how does this compare to the #1 car on our list? Stick around to find out. Number 1. Isuzu Bel-El 1900 Deluxe, 1962. As we wrap up our list of unknown Japanese sleepers, it's only fitting to finish with a true unsung hero of the automotive world, the Isuzu Bel-El 1900 Deluxe. After the innovation of the Mazda Familia Rotary Coupe, we now shift gears to a car that didn't have the flash, but absolutely had the heart of a lion. Introduced in 1962, the Bel-El 1900 Deluxe was a landmark for Isuzu as their first fully domestically designed and manufactured passenger car, signaling Japan's growing confidence in homegrown engineering. Under its modest exterior, the Belle 1900 Deluxe packed a 1.9-liter OHV inline-4 engine, producing around 94 horsepower and roughly 105 pound-feet of torque. At the time, this put it right in the mix with mid-range European competitors, and its torque delivery at lower RPMs gave it surprisingly strong off-the-line performance. 0 to 60 miles per hour came in around 14 seconds, with a top speed approaching 93 miles per hour, figures that weren't earth-shattering, but enough to surprise drivers expecting a sleepy commuter. It also featured a 4-speed manual gearbox, rear-wheel drive layout, and a notably durable ladder frame chassis, which made it popular among taxi fleets and long-distance drivers. Beyond performance, the Belle stood out for its toughness. Early models were even tested under extreme conditions in harsh climates to prove their reliability. Isuzu offered both petrol and diesel variants, the latter being one of Japan's first domestically produced diesel passenger cars, a bold move at the time. Yet, like many sleepers, the Belle wasn't perfect. It had a reputation for being a bit noisy, especially in diesel form, and its conservative, boxy styling rarely turned heads. Fuel economy also left something to be desired, especially for city driving. Still, beneath that understated sheet metal lay rugged engineering and reliability that earned it loyal fans across Japan and abroad. Though it never became a household name, the Isuzu Belle 1900 Deluxe holds its place as a quiet champion in Japanese automotive history, a car that dared to punch above its weight. Which one in this list caught you off guard? Drop a comment below. I'm curious to see your pick. And if you enjoyed this dive into Japan's hidden legends, smash that like button and subscribe, because the next round is even wilder. Catch you in the next one.